Dear students, welcome to the online English class. I am Priyanka Singh, lecturer in English, Government Girls Inter College, Banda. Today I am here to teach you class 12th subject English Prose lesson 6 Women's Education part 2/2 written by Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Let's start with the points of the lesson. Our first point of discussion will be importance of classics. Second point will be essence of good life. Third point, women's education and civilization. Our fourth point of discussion will be objects of education. Our next point will be initiation into higher life. And the last point of discussion will be historical background of women's condition and modern development. In my last online class, I told you about the present day condition of women and opportunities for them in the society, the kind of education, the definite purpose of education, the distinctive quality of women, that is compassion. Now students, I will ask some questions to check your prior knowledge. My first question is, why do you come to school? We come to school to get education. My next question, what is the benefit of education in one's life? It makes us good citizen. To whom is more needed to educate at present time in our society? So my dear student, today we will discuss about various aspects of education and the historical background and modern development regarding women's education. Students, in my last class I told you about the author that Dr. S. Radhakrishnan was an educationist, philosopher and statesman. He was born in the year 1888. He was the second president of India. He was also awarded the highest civilian award of India, Bharat Ratna, in 1954. Some of his famous books are Indian Philosophy, Hindu View of Life and Philosophy of Upanishad. Students, let's start with the paragraph 6. There is a famous verse which tells us Sansar Visvrachasya. In this imperfect word Sansar, there are two fruits of inimitable quality. Inimitable means distinctive. These are the study of our great classics. Classics means literary work of first rank and communion with great minds. These two are the things which mold men's minds and hearts. I am anxious that our great classics should be studied, the classics of all countries of which we are the inheritors. Inheritors means descendant. So here the writer Radhakrishnan says that we should study our classics. The writer highlights the value of great Indian classics such as Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita are the important classics of India. In these lines, the writer explains the importance of our great classics. He further says that this word is incomplete in various ways. None is perfect completely. He used the word imperfect word. Imperfect, not perfect. Sansar Visvrachasya means in this poisonous tree Sansar, there are two fruits of inimitable quality. First, study of great classics, and second, association with learned people. These two things change the mind and heart of human beings. Radhakrishnan is eager for this, that we should study our great classics and all those great creations of our country which are obtained to us from great heritage. The writer Radhakrishnan highlights the value of great Indian classic. We should study our classic and give respect to our classics. Now student, after completing the explanation, I will ask some questions based on the paragraph. My first question is, which are the two fruits of inimitable quality? Yes, the study of great classics and association with learned people are two fruits of inimitable quality. My next question, why should we read our classics? Yes, definitely. To change our minds and hearts, we should read our classics. Next question, what is the essence of good life? So, in next paragraph, we will discuss about the essence of good life. Now come to the paragraph 7. It is in a small dialogue in an Upanishad that a question is put, what constitute? Constitute means combine to form the essence of good life. Essence means substance. The teacher replies, did not you hear the answer? There was a thunderclap. Da, da, da. Immediately, the teacher explained that these were the essence of good life. Dam, Dan, Daya. They constitute the essentials of good life. Constitute means combine to form and essential means necessary. You must have dam or self-control, which is the mark of a human being. In the Ramayana, when Lakshman sets out means to begin a journey for the forest, his mother tells him, look upon Ram as your father Dasrath, look upon Sita as myself as your mother, look upon the forest as Ayodhya, go my dear. In these lines, the author is telling about the essence of a good life. In this paragraph, he tells us that a good life is composed of dam, dan and daya. Three da, da. First is dam, second dan and third is daya. Dam is self-control, dan charity and daya is compassion. The writer Radhakrishnan gives us the example of an extract from Ramayana when Lakshman begins his journey to the forest. His mother tells him to look upon Ram as his father Dasrath, look upon Sita as his mother and forest as Ayodhya, his hometown. This is a remarkable sign of Indian culture. So students, after completing the explanation, I will ask some questions based on the paragraph. My first question is, what constitutes the essence of good life? Yes, the essence of good life are dam, dan and daya. My second question is, what was the great teaching that Lakshman's mother gave him when he was going to the forest. Lakshman's mother tells him to look upon Ram as your father, look upon Sita as your mother, and look upon the forest as Ayodhya. My next question, what is the importance of good women for the great civilization? In next paragraph, we will discuss about the importance of good women for a country. Now, come to the 8th paragraph of the lesson. There are ever so many thrilling stories. Thrilling means adventurous. Stories in our classics which will instill means put something into one's mind, into us great moral strength, which will lay down for us the lines on which we have to conduct ourselves. Give us good women, we will have a great civilization. Civilization means culture. Give us good mothers, we will have a great nation. So, according to the writer Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, our classics are full of thrilling stories, full of adventurous stories. These stories instill into us the moral values. The study of classics shapes the personality of men and women in our society. In these lines, the writer Dr. S. Radhakrishnan points out the contribution of educated women to our civilization. Because we all know that women play a vital role in a nation's development, education develops in women a sense of right and wrong. Good women make good civilization and good mothers make a great nation. This can be brought through the education of women. So, the education of women is essential for the progress and prosperity of a nation. A famous anonymous proverb states the importance of education for women in society. If you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate the whole family or a nation. India comprises of eminent women personalities like Kiran Bedi, Lata Mangeshkar, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, Mary Kom, etc., who have contributed to the overall development of our society. Now students, I will ask some questions to you. My first question, what is the use of our classics? It will instill into us great moral values. Next question, what is the main purpose of education? In next paragraph, we will discuss about the main purpose of education. Now come to the next paragraph of this lesson. When you talk about education, you have several aims. Several means many aims in view. Give the people, those who are taught, knowledge of the world in which they live. Science, history and geography enable you to get that knowledge. You also train the people to acquire. Acquire means to obtain some technical skill by which they can earn a livelihood. Livelihood means income, source of income. These are still accepted the world over as the objects of education. Knowledge of the world in which you live and technical skill by which you can earn a livelihood. the writer Radhakrishnan is explaining two of the many purposes of education. The first and foremost purpose of education is to give as much knowledge to the students as can be given. This is possible by teaching them science, history and geography. Science is inclusive of the natural sciences that let us know about the physical world. History tells us what the world was in the past. Geography gives us the geographical knowledge of the globe. All of this is theoretical knowledge. The other purpose of education is to teach the people to gain applied and industrial ability to do jobs by themselves. This will enable them to earn a livelihood with honor and confidence. Now students, I am going to ask some questions based on the paragraph. My first question, what gives us the knowledge of the world in which we live? Science, history and geography give us the knowledge of the world in which we live. My next question, what will enable you to earn a livelihood? Technical skill will enable you to earn a livelihood. Next question, what is the chief purpose of education according to Radhakrishnan? So in next paragraph we will discuss about the chief purpose of education. Now paragraph 10, but what is there specific about the kind of education imparted? Specific means particular. In the institutions of our country, we have heard that the chief purpose of education is not merely the acquiring of skill or information, but the initiation into a higher life, initiation into a world. Initiation means introduce into the knowledge of some art which transcends means to rise above the world of space and time, though the latter informs and animates the former. That has been the main purpose of education. Describing the various facts, figures and fictions, Dr. Radhakrishnan accounts that the women education in India is not widespread. He mentions many fables and stories from our ancient great books in which women have been shown blessed with high honor. There are several aims of education. In these lines, the writer says that these are not the real aims of knowledge. Only getting information and skill are the ordinary aims. The main aim of education is to enable a man to pass a noble and higher life. To make a man successful in this world is to enable a man to enjoy a permanent bliss of spiritual life, initiation into higher life. Now students, I will ask some questions based on the paragraph. My first question is, what kind of knowledge should we get? We should get knowledge of world and knowledge of technical skill. Next question, what is the chief purpose of education? Yes, the chief purpose of education is not merely the acquiring of skill, but initiation into a higher life. Next question, what could our women do in ancient time? In next paragraph, we will discuss women's rights in ancient time. Student, our tradition has been somewhat different in ancient times. As Dr. Radhakrishnan tells us, Purukalpeshu Narinam Mandir Vandana Nischita Adhyapanancha Vedanam Gayatri Vachanam Tatha. Means, in very old times, worship in the temples by women was approved, and so was the teaching of the Vedas and the chanting of Gayatri Mantra. We all know Gayatri Mantra, Om Bhur Bhuvah Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Now come to the next paragraph of this lesson. In ancient times, our women had the ceremony of Upnayan performed for them. Ceremony means a formal religious or public occasion. They were entitled to a study of Vedas. They were also entitled to the chanting. Chanting means singing of the Gayatri Jap. All these things were open to our women. But our civilization became arrested, and one of the main signs of that decay means go off, of our civilization is the subjection. Subjection means a state of dependence of women. After independence, through the exertions of Mahatma Gandhi, a revolution has been effected in our country, and women are coming into their own. Here the writer tells us about the education of women in ancient times. In ancient society, women's education was much deep and broad. In these lines, the writer points out that in ancient times, women had equal rights to men in the field of education. They had the ceremony of Upnayan performed for them. Upnayan ceremony is one of the traditional ceremony that marked the acceptance of a student by a guru and an individual's entrance to a school in Hinduism. They had the right to perform all religious ceremonies, as we can see in the picture. They had the right to study Vedas. Vedas, the oldest and highest sacred writings of Hindu religion. They are 4 in numbers: Rigved, Yajurved, Samved and Atharvaved. And to sing Gayatri Mantra. Their status was not inferior to men in any way, but in the middle age of history, women were neglected. No attention was paid towards the progress of women. The ancient civilization began to decline, and it affected the rights of women adversely. Due to the continuous efforts of Mahatma Gandhi, a revolution occurred in our country. This is the result of Gandhiji's struggle, that women have realized their importance in constructing the future of India. Now student, after completing the explanation of this passage, I will ask some questions to you. My first question: what was the condition of women in ancient time? Yes, they were entitled to Upnayan Sanskar, chanting of Gayatri Jap and study of Vedas. My next question: what were the improvements in the condition of women after independence? After independence, women are coming into their own situations as ancient time in India. Now students, we will stop here. But let me summarize all the things that we have studied today. The writer highlights the value of great Indian classics. The three important qualities of a valuable life are Dam, Dan and Daya. Theoretical knowledge and technical skill both should be given to the students in our colleges. Education is not merely the acquiring of skill, but the initiation into higher life. In ancient times, women had equal rights to men in the field of education. Now, today we learned about the importance of classics, essence of good life, women's education and civilization, objects of education, initiation into higher life, historical background of women's condition and modern development. Now students, I will give you some questions for your home assignment. My first question, what constitutes the essence of the good life? Next, what things were women entitled to in ancient India? Third question, what causes the decline of womanhood according to S. Radha Krishnan? Now the fourth question is, you have to use the following expressions in your own sentences as to bring out their meaning clearly. First expression is look upon. Second, into with. Third, initiation. And the last is exertion. Next question, give the antonyms of the following words. Antonyms means opposite word. The first word, bitter. Second, disciplined. Third, restrained. And the last, deep. Students, I want you to read the whole lesson very well so that you can give the answers of these questions properly. Students, today we have studied class 12th subject English Prose lesson 6 Women's Education part 2/2. In our next video, we will discuss about the next lesson, the heritage of India. To understand the lesson, come to the class after reading the lesson very well. Thank you so much.